This is one of those exercises that is a mobility exercise for some, a stability exercise for others, and a strength exercise for others again. This is a sideways bubble reach. Sounds weird, it is a bit weird, but it's also very effective. So let's see what it looks like. We are starting over with a forward fold, reaching for toes. We're shifting our weight over onto one leg. So for me here, we're going to move over to the right hand side. And the first key thing to think about is we want to get our hips towards the right. Many people will naturally shift their hips the other way, and that avoids the training stimulus. So what we're looking for here is teaching this hip to load really well, especially this glute complex. So not just glute max, we're also going to be loading glute medius as well, which is why we need the hips to shift right. Right hip should be outside the right foot. So we do this by shifting the hips over and reaching as far over to the side along the floor as far as you can, and then we reach like we're in the biggest bubble possible. So our hands are going to trace this bubble, staying as wide as possible without giving in to the urge to let your hips slide away. You can see I'm fighting really hard here because I'm a little bit tight in this motion. We're getting a lot of hip flexion, hip adduction, and also hip internal rotation. I'm letting this left hip come forward slightly, so it's really loading that glute maximally in all three planes of motion. So we draw a big wide circle, stay out there, stay out there. You can see there's some little trembles going on there, and then we extend the hip, come up nice and tall to finish the movement. So you go from almost maximum length in all three planes to fairly short in all three planes by finishing here. I'm going to go for one more rep. So reaching down, walking the hands across, fighting the urge to let the hips shift away. Do you see that was not a great rep there from me? I fight it, get the hips back over there, and then we reach up and around and over the top. So why do we use this? For people who struggle to get into one of their hips. So especially if somebody struggles to adduct their hip, they might have a hip shift in their squat the other way. For example, if I squatted and my hips always shifted to the left, this would be one way to teach me to access that right hip complex better. And it kind of addresses multiple reasons for why I can't get in there. It could be because this hip capsule is tight, it's because the glute med is tight, because the glute max doesn't like hip internal rotation. It could also be because this leg is a little bit unstable. If we want to give it more of a stability stimulus, we could come up onto tiptoes for the non-working leg. And the key thing is really just to challenge the range as far as possible. And if you start to tremble, that's how you know you're doing it right. We want, even if you don't have a problem here, we want to be improving our strength through range and our ability to load this hip in a slightly unusual way, which will build our movement comfort zone that will then carry over to our squats, to our lunges, to our running. The hip will be strong and stable if you do this movement effectively. Give it a go. Let me know how you get on. Feel free to upload a video to our school community and we'll give you some free feedback. But otherwise, thanks for your time, guys, and look forward to speaking with you next week.